Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're diving into this really fascinating story about a couple who, on paper, had over $1 million, but they felt like anything but millionaires. Seriously, their story is going to make you rethink what it actually means to be rich.
Okay, so when you think millionaire, what pops into your head? It's probably this, right? The quote here nails it. A hotshot living a flashy lifestyle. Big cars, huge houses, the works. But what if that image is totally wrong? What if that's not the real story for everyone?
Yeah. For this one couple we're talking about, their reality was, well, it was the complete opposite of that myth. Forget the high consumption and big spending. For them, it was all about frugal living, having more freedom, and spending way, way less. It's a pretty wild story, so let's jump right in.
All right, part one, the millionaire myth. Let's dig into just how much their life clashes with that stereotype.
So, you hit the $1 million mark. What's the first thing you do? Buy a new car? A bigger house? Not these guys. They actually moved to Mexico and kept living super frugally. And you can imagine, their friends and family were just totally confused. This is really the first big reason they just didn't feel like what everyone thinks a millionaire should be.
Okay, part two, the balance sheet reality. And the subtitle says it all, a fortune that's mostly on paper. This is where things get really interesting.
First off, a little technicality. They're not each millionaires. They're a millionaire household, which means their assets combined are over $1 million. They even call themselves two half-millionaires. I mean, that already kind of changes the vibe, right? But here's the real kicker. Look at this chart. A whopping 99% of their money, it's basically trapped. It's all sitting in retirement accounts. You know, IRAs, 457s. So yeah, the money technically exists, but they can't touch it. It's not spendable cash. And what happens if they try to touch it? Bam! They'd get hit with a massive penalty. At least 20% would just vanish into thin air because of taxes and fees. So that $1 million net worth, it's really more of an illusion when it comes to day-to-day life.
So you're probably wondering, what can they access easily? Get this, less than $10,000. That's it. That's their entire taxable investment account. For a millionaire, that's not a lot.
Okay, and what about their actual checking and savings accounts? The money they use for, groceries. $1,600. Just let that sink in. $1 million net worth, but only $1,600 on hand. That's just wild. It's the total opposite of a millionaire lifestyle.
And this was all part of a very deliberate strategy. Their whole game plan was to keep their taxable income as low as humanly possible. Look at these numbers. Their goal was to stay in that tiny 10% tax bracket. That meant they were paying less than $1,000 in income tax each year. Pretty smart, actually.
So what does that all boil down to? In 2017, for example, their actual spendable income for the entire year was only about $35,000. That's less than $3,000 a month to live on. So you see the picture, right? The wealth is there on paper, but their actual cash flow, super modest. And that was totally by design.
All right, part three, the frugal lifestyle reality. Let's take a look at what it actually looks like to live on a paper fortune.
I mean, can you even picture a millionaire who doesn't have a house, or a car, or even a TV? It sounds crazy, but that's exactly what this couple did. They sold their home, donated their cars, and just dropped their TV off at Goodwill. They completely detached from all the typical stuff.
Their whole life became about flexibility. They'd rent Airbnbs, they'd stay with family in between trips. They called themselves boomerang millionaires, which I think is a great term. They weren't tied down by anything, which gave them this incredible freedom. Food was another huge change for them. And you gotta love this quote. They look back at their old habits and call themselves money morons for eating out all the time. It's so honest.
And you can see the difference right here. They went from just mindlessly spending money on expensive restaurant meals to being super intentional, cooking at home, finding affordable lunch spots. They realized, hey, we can make better food ourselves for way less money. It was a total mindset shift.
Okay, part four, redefining rich. So if being a millionaire isn't about buying fancy stuff, then what's the point? This is where their story really gives us a whole new way to think about wealth. And this is it. This is the big takeaway. For them, wealth wasn't about buying things. It was about buying freedom. It was about buying options, adventure, the chance to grow as people. Their goal was to use their money to control their time, not to fill their house with stuff. That's a powerful idea.
And one last super important point, This extreme frugality wasn't meant to be forever. It was a phase, a strategic move. An update shows that later on, their life looks different. They have a home again, a car, a TV. That intense period of saving and living lean was the foundation that set them up for even more flexibility and freedom down the road.
So this whole story really makes you think, doesn't it? It leaves us with this big question. What does being rich actually mean to you? Is it about the stuff you own, or is it about the freedom you have to live your life on your own terms? Something to chew on. Thanks for joining me.